The Houston Texans are in panic mode. 25th to 12th for Deshaun Watson. Panic mode. They're chasing their tail. They have no idea what they're doing at quarterback. If I were a Texans fan, as I've said before, I would consider suing the franchise for fraud, mismanagement. Their quarterback situation has wasted the window of a Super Bowl-ready team. Every other aspect of that team is good. Defense, offensive weapons, Lamar Miller, DeAndre Hopkins, except for one position. And you're telling me that your options were a historically very good quarterback, great, very good to great quarterback, top 10 over the last 10 years, versus a rookie, Deshaun Watson or Tom Savage. That's what they've entrusted this team to. It's embarrassing in management. It's embarrassing where they've left their window of opportunity.
Won a national championship.
The embarrassment
in college.
The embarrassment is you. You should be ashamed of yourself.
How true is it that you still keep a video file of the Texans fans booing the team after they draft you?
Yeah, I have it on my phone. I have it on my computer. I have that because I remember. You remember how quickly things can turn in this league. You remember how fragile fame and success is. When they drafted me, the whole place booed. The whole city kind of wondered who I was. They wanted somebody else. They booed. And I remember when I got to the airport in Houston, and the guy at the airport line when I was going through security saw I was wearing a Texans shirt, and he was like, "Hey, you see, you Texans fan?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I hope that big white guy that they drafted is good." And I kind of looked at him. I couldn't tell if he was serious or not. He literally had no clue who I was, and I was like, "Yeah, I hope so too." And I just went on my way. And so, like, I'll always remember that. I'll always remember the fans booing me. I'll always remember people wondering if I'd be good. And my whole goal when I saw that for the first time was, I'm going to change this city's mind. I'm going to do everything I can to take this city from hating the draft pick to hopefully loving me.
I had my questions about him. He's a big play receiver.
What were your questions about him coming into the league?
Well, of course, he had the hands issue.
What's the hands issue?
Unnatural hands, body catcher, concentration drops. So I think for a guy that's a deep play receiver, that was something that concerned me. I liked him as a receiver who tracked the ball well over his shoulder, but his hands have always been suspect. You look at last year, 51% receiving percentage, played 14 games, 47 catches. This is a team that really didn't have a second receiver outside of DeAndre Hopkins. But believe it or not, even though Deshaun Watson throws hot air balloons out there, he's an upgrade on Brock Osweiler. So
barely. But that's the case for Will Fuller, right? Oh, they got a quarterback, Deshaun Watson. No, they didn't.
Houston Texans select DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver from Clemson. And he's a great wide receiver. He's a really good pick, but I don't really understand this pick for the Texans. I mean, they already have a pretty good receiving core. But, I mean, it just adds right to it. I really would have expected them to got a linebacker, either Alec Ogletree or Manti Te'o, but they didn't. But even though I still give this pick, I'd say a B+. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, I believe, is right up there in terms of talent with Tavon Austin.
And pushing my chips into the table in 2018 with a take that's not quite as strong, not that he belongs in the CFL, but that he's merely the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. Merely. So the three big lessons. One is a genuine I was wrong, lesson learned, fully internalized, moving forward in a more positive direction. The second one we can question with alternative facts. And on the third, I'm actually refortifying myself.
Now, just so you know, these aren't ours. These were actual scouts who wrote this about you.
Okay.
So right before the draft, read your profile, J.J. Watt profile.
These are long. Okay. Won't consistently get the edge on tackles with his get off or quickness.
Whoops.
That means I'm slow. Plays high at times, can be blown off the ball by a double team, but does fight hard to hold his ground. I do fight hard to hold my ground.
Okay,
man.
all right. That's all right.
Lacks
That's
some
a
lateral,
backhanded comment.
Yeah, lacks some lateral mobility, both rushing the passer and playing in space.
Read the one on the bottom.
His recognition skills leave something to be desired.
I think they just called you dumb is what they did. That's mean.
That's a knock on the old noggin. He flashes good hand usage at times, but needs to get stronger at the point of it. Do I need to get stronger?
Oh my God, Seton.
Do I need to get stronger?
Does JJ need to get stronger?
No. I'm entering the concussion protocol as we speak here, so I might have to sit out the rest of this.
We're gonna get the unaffiliated person in here. He needs to gain some more weight to fill out and to continue to learn how to use his hands effectively. Can you imagine what I could do if I learned how to use my hands effectively?
Wow.
He won't ever be a stud pass rusher.
That was real.
I only wish I could be one. I only wish. But he could still stand to learn some pass rush moves beyond his bull rush and occasional swim to the inside if a tackle opens his. Who wrote this?
Paulie, do you know who wrote about he'll never be a good?
Do you want me to bring him out if he was in the back?
Who wrote this? That would be fantastic.
I'll get the name for you.
I could learn. I need to learn.
Yeah.
I need to learn some things, Dan.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Brianna.
Are you a big football fan?
Big football fan.
Yeah, college football for sure.
And are you familiar with Deshaun Watson? How you feel about him?
I don't think he's worthy of the first rounder. You know, I question his arm strength and, his ability to throw on the run.
Do we feel like Jadeveon Clowney, Warren Sapp, is worthy of being the #1 overall pick in this year's NFL draft?
For my money, I always say this. My grandfather taught me something a long time ago, Dan. He said, boy, you will never get more money by doing less work. And I look at Jadeveon Clowney's tape, and I don't see a guy that's playing the game with his hair on fire, making plays, running up and down the field, side on the side, doing all the things. So when I look at him, I say, let's evaluate this and let's see what Houston comes up with. Because if it's my pick, I'm taking Teddy Bridgewater myself because I believe Teddy Bridgewater is that quarterback to get it done. And what do Houston need? A quarterback to get it done.
That game against Alabama, I'm not sure Deshaun Kaiser could as well. Feels like a tough judgment on Deshaun Watson. Why isn't he ahead of those guys?
Well, you're talking about a great college quarterback, David. Who's best equipped to be a great NFL quarterback? It's a big difference there. And certainly Deshaun Watson, as Paul Feinbaum astutely commented on and pointed out, 99, nearly 100 plays. Last year, it was 85 plays. In the NFL, you're in the 60s. Huge difference. They were worn out, that Alabama defense. They were worn out last year. Okay, that's the difference in college football and the NFL. Deshaun Watson in the second half took advantage of that. In the first half, they did nothing. Okay, second half, I think it was more of that tired, worn-out Alabama defense allowed for a lot of those opportunities and some contested catches. How about Mike Williams looking like a top 10 pick in the first round? Jordan Leggett had to drop, but had several really good catches. Okay, Hunter Renfrow to me was the MVP of the game. If he doesn't tackle Ryan Anderson, it's a touchdown. If he doesn't make those third down catches, he had 2 touchdown catches last year. He was a thorn in the side of Nick Saban. Hunter Renfrow to me was the MVP. Then you have Kaiser, Notre Dame, Watson, Clemson. You also have Kaya, Miami. How about Patrick Mahomes, Texas Tech? There's going to be a real battle to see who will be the second quarterback off the board. But right now I have a second-round grade on Deshaun Watson.
Everybody's read it. They've read their own. Drew Brees, J.J. Watt, Aaron Rodgers. I want you to read. This is Deshaun Watson's draft profile.
Frame is a little slim or a little more slender than teams typically like. Tends to overstride on deep drive throws, causing the ball to sail. Will leave ball behind intended targets. Design of Clemson offense limit his needs to make a full field read he will have to make to be successful in the NFL. Too many interceptions due to lack of vision, placement, and decision making. Has issues improvising away from initial pre-snap plan, even when pathway to the target becomes muddy. And then discussions about whether or not his areas of improvement can be corrected is the big question.
Any of those true?
Not at all. If it is, it didn't stop me from fun.
That's true. But there's all this information now, and everybody's got their profile of you. And it's got to be tough to try not to read that and let it impact you.
Right.
Did you read it when you were at Clemson?
Of course. I mean, I saw it. You can't really hide from it, throughout the media.
Yeah.
People are going to talk about it. But, it's kind of fun. I was talking to really a future Hall of Famer the other day, and we were talking, it's crazy how, they put this label and they say these things about you, coming into the draft. And then once you get to the NFL, they start talking about how good you are at these things and flip the whole script. So, just kind of laughing motivates me.